Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of America in Black and White, where we delve deep into the issue of what we could solve and the people that we can help within the underserved communities around the country. Tonight, we have a very special guest. We have Mr. Patrick Hart. Let me tell you guys a little bit about Mr. Hart. In his biography, it states that from humble beginnings to boredom triumphs, Patrick embodies the essence of resilience and determination. As a U.S. veteran, I learned the value of discipline, leadership, and tenacity. These qualities have been the backbone of my journey, guiding me from childhood defined by poverty to a life of professional success and financial stability. With a master's degree in management, I embarked on a career that saw me rise through the ranks of the healthcare industry. My tenure as a healthcare executive was marked by strategic vision and transformation leadership. I was privileged to be a part of a dynamic leadership team that steered pioneering healthcare technology company to unprecedented heights. Our efforts culminated in the sale of the company for a record-breaking sum, a testament to our innovative approach and relentless pursuit of excellence. But my story isn't just about financial success. It's about breaking barriers and setting new standards. Growing up, the odds were stacked against me, yet I carved out a path to prosperity through grit, education, and an unwavering belief in the power of change. My experience in the military and the corporate world have imbued me with a unique perspective on what it takes to succeed in any arena. Today, I am passionate about sharing my journey and the lessons learned, whether through speaking engagements, mentorship, or my book. My goal is to inspire others to defy their circumstances and achieve their dreams. My story is a testament to the idea that anything is possible with vision, hard work, and the right opportunities. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce you all to Mr. Patrick Hart. Hello, sir.
Hello, hello, hello.
How are you
I
today?
like it. I'm excellent, man. How you doing?
I am excellent, and I want to thank you for taking the time to be with us this evening. Is there anything you like to bio?
Nope, I wrote it, so I think it was pretty good. So thanks.
Well, so before we get started, what branch of service were you in?
Yeah, I was in the army. I spent 6 years in the army. I was a helicopter mechanic. Basically, I did avionics, electrical, as well as
Mhm.
armament. So missile systems, anything related to weapon systems and electronic technology. That was my forte, and did two tours as well.
Oh wow! Congratulations to you, and it's good. Thank you for your service, and like I say, it's good to have you back here with us as well.
Well, I'm happy to be here.
Yes, sir. So let's just dive right into this. Um, can you tell our audience what inspired you to become a speaker and a mentor in the healthcare field?
Yeah, I think that for me it's pretty easy. I mean, on my journey as climbing that career ladder, oftentimes I would look around and I find that, there's only me that looked like me in the room. And that was kind of frustrating, but also energizing at the same time in the sense that, I felt privileged. I felt blessed to be able to accomplish what I've been able to accomplish in my short time, rising that, taking that career ladder. But when you're looking around the room and then you don't see a whole lot of people that look like you, that's very inspirational to me to reach back, to give back, and help people really find that path to elevate as well. So, speaking is important to me. Not only just the gratification that I get from it, but the fact that you can empower and inspire other people to achieve a level of success that they haven't achieved yet. That's impactful to me.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
That actually, I mean that statement alone about being the only person that looked like yourself in a room of many people. that in itself is inspirational because that means that there had to be some things that you brought to the table that really mattered a whole lot. So
Yeah, and I
with the go ahead, I'm sorry.
yeah, I was gonna say, and I think the thing that I brought to the table, because I would often look back, and even today I look back and I'd be like, well, how did I position myself to be in these positions to achieve what I've been able to achieve thus far? And honestly, this is going to be one word that I'm going to sum it up to, and it's going to be confidence. Uh, I led with confidence. I had enough confidence in myself that I can accomplish whatever. But just because you have confidence doesn't mean you can achieve great things, right? You also
Mm,
need to have those opportunities.
yeah.
And then with those opportunities, you need to make sure you're thriving in those opportunities, like you're taking full advantage of any other opportunity that's given to you, right? Or
Mm,
that you've earned for yourself, right? And then you take off with it. Especially if you look like we do. You're different and better story. You have to come with your A game, right? Because already in the corporate world, your tenure is short. It's kind of like I equate it to being an athlete. Athletes, you have a span of time where you can excel and do great things, where you're going to hit your peak. And then after you hit your peak, then the way the world works today in the corporate world, they're always looking to replace you with someone, a new shiny or two, someone that can do more, or technology that can actually do the same thing you were doing, but at a much less pay rate. So you have to, in my opinion, you have to take advantage of those opportunities, fully excel in the time that you have, and then lead with confidence.
oh wow. So how do you balance your roles as an author and a mentor?
It's very challenging. And I wrote a book, and my book, you can find it on Amazon, Kindle. You can find it on audiobooks. It's called Hustle to the Top, a career guide for scaling your growth. So yeah, go ahead and check me out. You can find it there. You can also get a snippet, like I said, on audiobooks, where you can kind of hear a summary of what the book is about. I would encourage you, if you're scaling your career, to go ahead and stop there and take a gander at that. But to answer your question, it's not easy, man. If anybody tell you that work-life balance, it's something that everybody can do, it's not. Generally speaking, to do anything in life, there's going to be a sacrifice somewhere. Something is going to lose out, whether that's family time, whether that's personal time for yourself, whether that's your business is going to suffer. So that whole work-life balance and figuring out how to mentor, speak, grow a business, raise and provide for a family. It's extremely challenging. And I don't have the secret sauce, because sometimes, and very often, I'm focused on one direction because I needed to give it attention before I can give something else attention. And so, that's going to be my 2 cents for people. There's no perfect work-life balance type thing. You have to find that thing that actually works for you and your family. And the number one thing that I would tell people that I would lead with is communication, especially if you have a family. If it's just you, man, more power to you. Go after it, be all you can be great, But if you have a family, it requires a significant amount of communication. But not only communication, you got to have buy-in, because you can have one of those families, you can share that, hey, this is my vision, this is what I'm trying to accomplish. But if they're not buying into it, then that's going to be a trouble situation from the get-go, right? So that communication has to be present. And for me, it's helped me thus far.
Are there any other tips that you can offer our audience, especially those that are aspiring to move up in other areas?
Yeah, this is going to sound cliche, but everyone talks about it. First, you have to have a vision, and make sure your vision is very clear. But it's one thing to have a vision, but you also have to document, write down that vision, because what you're doing is you're not only visualizing it, but you're putting it on paper. So now you're actually turning that vision into a reality by holding yourself accountable for what you wrote down. And then once you have that vision, this big clear vision of what you want to accomplish, then you can start baby stepping, having those actionable steps to achieve or realize that particular vision. So just like many people would tell you, write it down. That's so powerful. And then continue to visualize, what that success looks like for you. The other thing I would encourage people to do is take time. Take time reflecting on your journey, some of the obstacles you've been through. Spend a whole lot of time congratulating yourselves on the things that you've already accomplished. But use that time to reflect on what's your next step. A lot of entrepreneurs, business owners, leaders, they'll tell you, time is your most valuable resource. I totally agree. But for me, time is also my most valuable resource to give myself time to process what I've been through, continue to refocus on where I'm going, and use that time wisely. So what I'm getting at is oftentimes, we work, 5, 7 days a week, depending on your schedule, right? And a lot of people think that, oh, I got to get up at 6 and I got to be clocking into office and I have to work all the way to 6 p.m. And, I got an hour for dinner and I got a couple hours for family. And then we're going to repeat this whole process. For me, that's not how I work. I generally like to get up around 8, especially during the summertime, because, my granddaughter, she's not in school. So I can sleep a little bit longer. And then when first thing in the morning, I want to have my coffee. I just want to be in my body, in presence with myself, right? Self-reflect and just think about what I'm trying to accomplish that day. My day, generally speaking, is not getting started till about 10 o'clock, 10 o'clock a.m. And then, I take a break during family time after the wife gets home, just to kind of hear about her day, be supportive of her, and then spend some time with my granddaughter. And then after that, later on that night, I'm jumping back into the game. That's important for me. And then I'm going to take a break again later that night. And I'm just going to self-reflect about what I accomplished that day, celebrate my little small wins, and then refocus on what I want to accomplish the next day. So that's my 2 cents.
Not just one more follow-up question to you, because I love that response right there. And that should be inspirational for an enormous amount of people. But can I ask you this? Does peak time play a part in that at all?
It depends. What do you consider peak time?
Well, see, like, let me give you an example. Like for me, I'm up early in the morning, but my peak time is not till 11 o'clock p.m. 11
Right.
o'clock p.m., my brain totally pops clear and I can
Right.
do anything that I need to get done. During the day, it's kind of like it's a struggle, but my peak time's at 11 o'clock. Does that play a part in the things that you just mentioned?
100%, 100%. You got to find your peak time. And I think you and I were a lot of same. Like when I'm getting up in the morning, I can't focus on work right then and there. I can start thinking about it, but that's not my focus. My peak time, honestly, is probably like 11, 12 o'clock at night. Between that 11 and 1 o'clock hour, man, I'm killing it. I'm killing the game. I'm doing it. Right. And I'm happy about myself. And, I get to sleep 1:30, 2 o'clock. And then that's why I'm able to get up at 8, because, I only need 5-6 hours of sleep and I'm good. So yeah, it works. That peak time is everything, like you said.
I think that's got something to do with us being veterans, because everybody I speak to that's a veteran, people that I serve with, everybody thinks about the same like that, because it's like when you have that clear and focused time, it's just getting it done.
Yep. And I'm one of those people too, is I get distracted easy. I got my own office and I can close my doors and that's great. But if people are running around the house, for me, it just doesn't work. I like to have it totally quiet, just my lights on in my office, and let me grind it out. And then I'm good to go. So if like the wife and the kids are going somewhere, they're going to the movies, y'all have it. Go, more power to you. Let me do me.
Yeah, I understand. Hey, I feel that. Can you share a memorable experience from your speaking engagements?
Most of my speaking is, a little bit in my bio. We talked about me as a leader scaling that healthcare arena. I felt like at this point, I felt like I've had 4 different careers. I spent 6 years in the military. Again, I share with you, I was a helicopter mechanic. I spent another 8 years, which a lot of people don't see this on my my LinkedIn or my resume anymore, just because it was so long ago. But I spent 8 years in the mobile home industry. I was a general manager, so that was like my first big boy job when I got out of the military. I became a general manager of a mobile home sales center, overseeing these retail locations where we're actually selling mobile homes to families or individuals and things like that. And I spent 8 years doing that. So that was my second career. Then I spent, 15 years in healthcare, really scaling that ladder. So that was my third career. And then today I'm a full-time entrepreneur and as well as business owner. So now I'm working on my 4th career. I'm still in my 40s. I haven't reached my 50s yet, but I'm still in my 40s. Why am I sharing this with people? Is because I want people to understand that journey is never straight. That line is never straight. That path to wherever you're trying to get to is never straight. Oftentimes, you're going to have to go from here to here to here. And a lot of times, especially for people that look like us, if you're in a career path and you're trying to really scale, sometimes you got to leave a company in order to grow past that company. And a lot of people, they think, oh man, I want to spend 5 years, 7 years, 10 years. I've spent 15 years here. You spend all that time there doing what? Like, what have you achieved? And for a lot of people, they're going to get that personal satisfaction that I feel like I have some security because I've been here 15 years. Newsflash: there's no security in the corporate world anymore. There isn't. And I hate to be that person to break it to you if this is the first time hearing it, but there isn't. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't try, right? Especially if that's your aspiration. So I definitely want to arm you with that. Go ahead and do you, but be conscious about what you're trying to accomplish and making sure you're surrounding yourself with the people that's going to help you get there. And don't feel like time is going to be the factor that's going to help you get to here. Meaning, I spent 5 years, 7 years doing this. That's going to position me for greatness. Now, oftentimes, that's not the case. Because many times, and you're a military guy. You know this before. You can reach the rank of E7. You're sergeant first class, and then you got this freaking warrant officer or officer just comes in fresh out of college. And guess what? They outrank you, and you're supposed to salute and respect them, right? Because that's part. So your time in service mean that you're actually better than they are? Absolutely not. So that's where time can be a falsehood to make you feel like, you know what, you're doing the right thing. And really, if you got your vision, like we talked about, you're writing down exactly what you're trying to accomplish, then time doesn't become a factor. Only what you've accomplished in that certain amount of, reaching your milestones. That's what you really need to be focused on. So long story to answer your question as far as how has all this prepared me? Well, what we're doing today, we're talking about podcasts, whether it's my newsletter. I spend a lot of time in the healthcare technology world, actually speaking to C-suite leaders, influencing them to invest and buy our technology. I spent a lot of times, I was doing 15, 20 conferences a year, and often I'm on stage as a supporter speaking to the audience about our different and better stories and things like that. All of that has fully prepared me to reach back to people that look like me, help them understand and to navigate what success looks like for them as well. Hopefully that wasn't too long, man, but I love talking.
Oh no. Look, there's no time limit. We're not worried about that. I
Okay.
appreciate it. What advice would you give to aspiring authors in the healthcare domain?
It's a journey, we talked about time. Give yourself some time, but the other thing is do your research. There's with the internet out there right now. There's so much information online. Do your research. The biggest thing that's going to separate you from anybody else is the amount of knowledge you have up here. And it's not only your knowledge that you have up here, but it's also the actual steps where you're able to use that knowledge where it benefits you, right? So that's my big thing. Do your research. Start connecting with other authors out there. Picking their brain about their different and better story, understanding their journey, some of the pitfalls that they went through as well. All that information is going to help you just be that much better and more prepared so you can excel in anything that you do.
How do you stay up to date with the latest trends and research in healthcare?
There's a lot of groups that I subscribe to, a lot of articles, newsletters, things like that. That keep me informed. In addition to, attending conferences, listening to other speakers, there's a lot of power in people's voices, really understanding that as well. And then the other thing is soliciting feedback. Sometimes, I like to believe that I know a lot of things, but I don't know everything, right? So when you're asking people to share and help you understand more, that's just going to educate you more and position you to be that thought leader in the space.
So, just say like in some of those conferences and so forth, um, have you been able to parlay from a networking perspective that's actually built business that's been very, very fortuitous for you?
I don't understand the question. Help me.
Well, like
Just-
with those conferences, and let's say like you meet different people, or you talk to different people afterwards and so forth. Has any of that been fortuitous, which means has there been any gain for you as you've grown into the business person that you are?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, and here's how I've grown from my networking at conferences, specifically at conferences. Um, just through understanding, people, their mannerisms, their hustle, their work ethic, what they're passionate about, understanding their struggles. All that for me goes in my data bank, because now I realize that, you know what, if Charles, he accomplished this, but this is what he went through, then that gives me some information that, hey, here's a baseline based off of, this is a guy that looks like me, that I may have to face these similar challenges as well. But then you go and connect with somebody else that don't look like you, but they've accomplished things that you're trying to accomplish. You want to really understand their story too and their journey, because that's going to be another baseline for, where they started out or what their journey looks like as well. So for me, it's through networking, and I love conferences. I love networking because that's why I feel like I'm the best. Like, that's the best version of me. And yeah, I like to provide a lot of energy when I meet people, because I feel like I need to be a source of energy when you meet people. Everybody needs something, right? And for me being that energy source. And so when I deliver energy, when I meet you at a conference and you're getting this, me being on, right? I'm on camera, I'm on live. Uh, you're going to get a lot of me that's going to help you open up, where I'm getting that information that I'm looking for directly from you. So conferences, one, I always encourage people, when you go to a conference, make sure you focus on why you're there at that conference. A lot of people, whether you're an entrepreneur or you're working for an organization, they tend to go to these conferences and they want to sit back, and they're in the corner, they're sitting behind a desk, they're reading a book, maybe they're eating at a booth or whatnot, and they're not totally maximizing the whole reason that they're at that conference, and that's to network, right? And if you do it properly, not only can you make some business connections that can help you grow, but you can potentially find your next mentor, sponsor, or business partner. So you want to think of it like that.
Oh wow! Now that's very interesting and very fruitful. Because as a networking individual myself, which I love networking,
Yeah,
uh, I've never thought to the extent that the add-on of when you say the sponsorship part, which actually makes an enormous amount of sense.
absolutely. I mean, listen, as an entrepreneur now, and
Mhm.
here's the difference. I mean, I wouldn't even say it's a difference, but let's say you're career focused, right? And I'm not an entrepreneur. I'm just looking to scale. I'm looking to go from here to here to here to here, and I'm networking. The similarities that you're going to get between someone that's career oriented and someone that's focused on being an entrepreneur is, at the end of the day, they're thinking about the same, and that's the end game. Like, how can I grow from this connection? How can I grow from this experience? How can I make sure that connection that I just made actually impact me in a positive way, and then vice versa, I'm impacting them as well? Because as an entrepreneur, I'm looking at every angle, man. I just met Charles. Charles got a podcast. This is going to be a great platform for me to not only educate my audience, but to maybe gain some new followers, right? So, and then for you, this is a great opportunity to connect with someone you didn't know before, someone that shares similar backgrounds. Like, we're both, veterans as well, and we're both on that entrepreneur journey, and we're both growing and trying to impact and influence other people as well. So, I'm looking for every single opportunity possible for me to help my message and my mission as well as my vision. So that's me, man.
Mhm. What challenges have you faced while mentoring others, and how did you overcome them?
There's a lot. Sometimes, and we're all going to fall in. Again, I may get long-winded, man, but bear with me. So you remember, I shared with you, I've been on that path, that career focused path. And, generally speaking, when you're on that career journey, it requires a big investment in yourself. Oftentimes that investment shows up in education, especially if you're trying to climb that career ladder. Now, I know AI is coming into the mix, and vocational schools and skill training is becoming more of a thing. But today, education is still valued more than those, those hands-on experiences, right? So I ended up getting my master's degree for that particular reason. One, because I wanted to separate myself from everybody else that looked like me. I was like, okay, if there's only going to be a handful of black people that's going to apply for this position, I needed to be that one that's going to separate myself from everybody else. So that's honestly, that was my focus behind getting my master's degree, right? So I ended up getting my master's degree in management for that number one reason. That's going to be my different and better story. If you're looking for a black person, I'm your guy. And guess what? I'm educated. So I got you. I fill all the boxes, right? So that was my focus. So what am I getting at is to mentorship, your question. I'm saying all this because unlike me, there's a lot of people that are trying to scale that ladder, but they don't want to invest in themselves.
Mm.
And and as a mentor, we're trying to teach people that you need to continue to invest in yourself. Whether that's self-learning, whether that's actually seeding
Mhm.
or taking advice of a mentor, whether that's online courses. You get disappointed a lot of times as a mentor when you're giving somebody, like, I'm giving you the tools, right? This is my playbook, and it may not work for you 100% like it worked for me, but hey, this is what I went through. Let me share the game with you, right? This is how I broke it down. And when someone is not actually taking heed to your advice, man, that's very disheartening. It's frustrating. But as a leader in that career path, you have to keep giving yourself over and over and over and over. It's expected of you, right? So I'm not upset with, the fact that I gave so much of myself, because I really believe in uplifting and inspire people to achieve whatever I've achieved. In fact, I want you to surpass me. But as a mentor, it's very frustrating when you try to give someone the game and they just don't want to take it.
Mm. So, do you find that all of the people that maybe come through a mentorship program that you provide, are you having more difficulties with those that are not, willing to listen and learn, or is it the fact that from not having a foundational background that there's just a struggle?
there's here there's going to be a struggle for, I would say, 50% of the people that I come in contact with, because we have to look at, like, social media, right? When
Hmm.
you look at social media, let's say you go to your Instagram feed or your LinkedIn feed, and generally your Instagram, Twitter, whatever, and you go to those feeds, the first thing that pops up is going to be something negative, generally speaking, right?
Yeah.
And whether that's someone fighting in the street, they're cussing each other out, blah, 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 it's all negative stuff. And there's a lot of people that gravitate to that stuff because whatever reason they need that in their lives, right? But that's very similar to people in their journey, their growth journey. A lot of people, they jump on, or they say, hey, I want this and this, that, and that in life, right? But they're so easily influenced by all this trash that's happening right here that their vision is getting cloudy over here, right? And you can't help everybody. The only thing you can do is give people the game, help them understand some of the pitfalls that's coming their way, put them in a position where they can be successful, and then from them it's on them. I'm not trying to be one of those parents, that the helicopter parent that's going to micromanage everybody. I want to give you the game and then see if you're going to actually reciprocate by giving me your ear or showing me from an action standpoint that you're ready to get to here. If you're not ready to get to there, then I can't be investing all that time in you. So it's simple for me.
Wow. Actually, that's more logical than you can imagine.
Right?
It really is. Could you recommend any books or resources that have influenced your career?
Man, there's so many. And here's, I want to share this with people too. I love books, but I hate reading books. And what I want to get at is the physical copy of a book in my hand. Oh my goodness, I cannot stand that. It just makes me go to sleep for what, and that's just me. So my wife calls it story time. I'm an audiobook guy. I need you to
Oh,
read it to me. I need to, absorb it that way. And if you're able to read it to me, then I love that. But with that being said, I've had, audiobook membership for years, where there's anywhere from 20 to 30 books a year that I'm listening to. And I can't say there's one particular great book, but one of the books that I read last year that I really, really liked and had an opportunity to meet this individual was, oh God, The name, University of Texas, big Longhorn fan, Matthew McConaughey. Matthew McConaughey.
Mhm.
His book is Green Lights, and it's really a story about himself and his family, but it just talks about green lights, how green lights, when they light up, that's actually giving you a sign. That means press forward, go forward. So his book is really inspirational. If you like inspirational, motivational books, I actually love that book. So Green Lights, I recommend that.
Okay. How do you approach networking within the healthcare industry?
Straightforward, man. I mean, really straightforward. I just tell people what I'm interested in. And then the other thing too is I put myself on display. If you're going to network with someone, they need to know who you're networking with, right? And when I mean by putting yourself on display, you actually putting content out there that actually speaks to who you are as a person. And so when that content actually is out there and it resonates with other people, it makes networking that much easier, because what you're going to end up doing is connecting with people that have similar interests as you, right? Like they resonate with your content. So I would tell you, first and foremost, put yourself out there. Um, Tackle fear. Fear is one of those things that live within all of us. There's fear just jumping on one of these podcasts, right? And this countdown is going 3, 2, 1. There's a little bit of anxiety running through me. I'm like, damn, okay, 1 second, I'm about to jump on camera and this is going to be live and it's going to be recorded. And who knows where this is going to end up, right? But you have to tackle that and face that, um, um, straightforward. In fact, kind of going back into when I first got out of the military, and I told you I spent 8 years in the mobile home industry. I started out as, a salesperson selling mobile homes. And the only sales background I really had is I spent 3 years in high school doing door-to-door sales for newspapers, when newspapers used to be a thing, right? So,
Mhm.
and honestly, there was only me, my mom, and my brother. I actually fed my family selling newspapers while in high school. I mean, and
Oh,
that's how good of a salesperson that it actually was, because I was always in that top three salespeople within the state. Within Austin. I grew up in Austin, Texas. So if y'all want to look me up, I was in Austin, Texas. And I used to have this little sign, and I would keep it on my desk before I had any interaction with anyone. And it would say, "Don't allow fear to prevent you from accomplishing your goals." And I would read that every single time before you and I would have a conversation, because that would help me stay focused on what my particular goals was. And then, like I shared with you earlier, I had my goals written down. So now I'm focused on overcoming fear and I'm focused on achieving my goals. So that made the interaction that you and I have that much clearer for me.
so just to ask a follow up to that response there, have your goals changed any here in, like, let's say, the last 6 months to a year?
Absolutely. My goals have changed substantially. And, we want to get personally a little bit. So in 2021, I lost my mom, and my mom, and it was me and my brother, right? So I didn't have a dad in my life. It was me, my mom, and my brother. I'm the oldest of two. And my mom was a high school dropout. She dealt with drug abuse, alcohol abuse. In fact, she died during COVID um, from what do you got, cirrhosis of the liver. So it wasn't a great death for her. And then during all of this, she was in a skilled nursing facility that I couldn't even see her, right? Because back then, you would only allow one visitation per week, things like that. And the day that she actually died, I actually had to speak to her through the window because I couldn't get inside. Why am I sharing all this with you? Because I had goals then that I was focused on before my mom died. And then after she died, which, dude, everybody knows, man, your mom is your rock. Your mom is your backbone, right? For us boys, like, mom is everything. That took me on, I would almost say, a 3-year depression. I mean, I finally coming out of it now, living with the fact that my mom is no longer here, that I can't pick up the phone and actually have a conversation, because she was also my best friend. And I'm trying not to get emotional talking about it, but I love that woman to death. And despite her challenges in life, she gave us everything that she possibly could for me to be in this position to have this conversation with you, knowing that there's going to be someone else that needs to hear this, that's going to help them achieve their particular goals as well. So the things that we didn't have financially, we had in love. Like, my mom loved us harder than everybody else. And so I never doubted the love that she had for me and her belief that she had in me. So with that being said, I wanted to accomplish this while she was with me. And then after she passed away, it totally changed everything. It changed everything. That's what led me to become an entrepreneur today, is because my mom always had that hustler spirit in her. And that's kind of what led me, helped me excel in my career as well. But then it helped me really understand my purpose, my passion in life for here on out. And it's really just connecting with people, inspiring, reaching back and helping them get to a level of success that they want to get to as well. So yeah, my goals changed substantially from that standpoint. I'm a full-time entrepreneur. I'm growing a business, and that business is all about career matchmaking, coaching, helping people scale and elevate within the healthcare space, especially for people that look like me. I really want to help you understand that you could start here, but you can end up here, or you may be here, but there's an opportunity to go here. And all it takes is those opportunities. But a lot of people want to know, well, how do you get those opportunities? You go get those opportunities is what I tell you. You can't wait for an opportunity to come to you. You actually have to be strategic and very passionate and focused about those opportunities. And when you get like that, what you're going to end up doing is surrounding yourself with people that have that same or similar interests as you, that's going to put you in a position that's going to help you get those opportunities as well. So I love talking about that. I love inspiring and encouraging people to look like me to reach for the stars, man, because it's theirs for the taking.
Ooh, I'm gonna have to move on past that, but I want you to know that no, seriously, that was more than just heartfelt, because I can relate to what you're saying, because just over a month ago I just lost my mom. And
My
so
condolences, man. That's
I
hard.
know, yeah, it is. I definitely understand that.
Yep, that's
Uh,
hard. It's and you know what? I'm gonna pray for you, because this journey
mm,
for you, man, it's just now starting. You said a month.
mm-hmm,
It's like this, dude. I'll be honest with you. Give yourself my encouragement to you. Give yourself some time to really process that. Share your feelings with your surroundings, because people are not going to really understand that connection that you and your mom shared, right? And why it puts you here, or why you feel the type of way, because that's your connection between your mom. And don't be hard on yourself, because I was kind of hard on myself as well, just feeling like I needed to be there and I wasn't, in her
mm.
last moment.
What strategies do you use to engage your audience during speaking events?
I do a lot of content creation. I mean, you can find me on Instagram. On Instagram, a lot of the stories that I'm putting out there are just encouraging stories, because that's the kind of content that I like to make. And if you want to find me on Instagram, is at Pat_Hart45. And again, that's at Pat_Hart45. Or you can connect with me on LinkedIn, and that's Patrick Hart, Hart. Or you can just look me up simply as That Healthcare Guy. And then that's my tag name, That Healthcare Guy. You can find me on any social channel on that. So I spend a lot of time just putting myself out there, because I feel like you can't grow unless you kind of give. At least for me, that's how I feel. I like, you give some and you get some, right? You give some and you get some. I'm not one of those, I take. I want to give, I want to give, I want to give. And I think that's why I've been blessed so far to be able to accomplish what I've been able to accomplish so far. But there's still another level of success that I'm trying to get to. And the only way I'm going to get to that is make sure that I'm helping other people who were where I was at reach where I'm at today, and then beyond me as well.
Mm. How do you handle stress and burnout while juggling multiple roles?
It's hard, dude. Dude, it's hard. It's like, stress is every day for me. I would say every day. And some of it is micro stress. I mean, you think of it and you allow it to fester a little bit too long. And then that energy becomes into this feeling. And that feeling often is stress, right? But sometimes you can find yourself for days just really focused and on one particular thing that's just irking the crap out of you. And that stress, and that lasts for quite some time. So I like to decompress. My getaway is, I'm fortunate enough to have a hot tub in my backyard. I want to spend a couple hours in my hot tub, man, just reflecting, trying to decompress so I can have enough energy to come back and tackle whatever that thing that was, irking me before. So again, that's that time. We get back to time. Find your happy place where you can escape, whether that's through meditation, whether that's physical, through yoga, exercise, or just jumping in your hot tub or your pool and taking a swim. so you can give yourself that grace period to realize, you know what, I don't have everything figured out. I don't have all the answers. I'm struggling in this particular moment, but I got to give myself some time to kind of figure it out.
I'll tell you, that's actually pretty cool. Um, Somebody like myself actually should listen to somebody else sometimes, because I want to tell you, when you mention busy, it's like it's really, really hard to go through to actually put this show together the way we have. I have a small team,
Right.
but we have actually grown over a period of time. But having to play a major part in that, I mean, the production of one of these shows is like, people would never understand.
Yeah. I
And
was gonna
just
say you actually inspired me. I would like to get to, having a podcast one day. I think, it's a great platform to reach
Mhm.
other people right now. Mine is social media, my newsletter. Then I have, a CRM that I'm working through right now to reach my connections. Now I'm blessed that, across my social channels, I got over 100,000, followers across the social channels, which is great. But, I built that up, right? So everything take time, and I definitely want to get to a point where I'm hosting a podcast. So that's why I wanted to jump on here, learn from you, see how you got this setup going, how many people you're reaching, and then, see how we can definitely network together to take over the world, Craig.
You look, I'm for that, but I will tell you, from the organic perspective, I will tell you, uh, I mean, like the reach has gotten very, very, very broad, and this is from the original launching of this podcast back in 2020, and just as I
Yes.
launched, COVID hit, and when COVID hit, I had to fade to black,
Right.
but I relaunched in the fall of 2022, and from that point, it's been going up. And so it's like the platforms, there's like 8 different platforms that I do this live through. But even throughout the live, where there's people that may be looking live, but it's the rebroadcasts that are basically that's catching more of those people that didn't have the opportunity to catch the live. And so it's gotten subscribers, 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 subscriber. And I have 3 YouTube channels. And so
Nice.
I broadcast live through all 3. And so they're all trying to do their part, even though they're separate, but they all work together, mutually exclusive.
That's awesome. Awesome. I'm definitely going to continue to pick your brains on this because, yeah, I'm loving this. This is great.
Can you share a success story related to your mentoring efforts?
Yeah, there's actually a female, black female, and I have to add that because, again, the audience that I'm after is in that minority sector. Again, people that look like me, black female. She actually came from the same industry. We were actually in healthcare, but she wasn't on the technology side. And I saw there was an opportunity because, like, she had the it factor, she had the energy, she had the industry experience, she had a lot of connections. She wasn't. She had that the fearlessness that she wasn't afraid to put herself out there, but she didn't have healthcare technology sales. I gave her an opportunity on my team. She thrived in that role, put herself out there, was meeting her sales goals. But just last year, she called me, personally thanked me because now she reached a vice president role in this new job that she's doing. And she thanked me profusely because I provided her with that opportunity to continue to scale. So that's a success story I love sharing because when we talk about opportunities, she worked for that opportunity, right? She was already in industry. She became fearless. She had her connections. She provided the energy. I just gave her an opportunity for doing something different, but in the same industry. And then she took off with it. So that's a success story I love sharing because with those opportunities, man, we can accomplish almost anything.
Exactly. I like that. When you reach back, you always make a difference.
Absolutely. And it feels good. At least for me, it feels good. Like I
Mhm.
feel fulfilled. And I'm an energy guy. So, and what that means for, the viewers is when you connect with somebody, oftentimes you can feel their energy. You can vibe from them. You understand whether they're down, whether or not they're just there, whether their energy matches yours as well. And being that energy guy, um, I love to just kind of give as much as me as possible, because I can, like, what I'm attracted to is people that need that uplifting for whatever reason. You're in that corner, you're drinking your coffee by yourself. Let me talk to you because something's going on. Maybe that's how you process, but maybe you just need someone to encourage you, to inspire you, that to give you enough energy to really fulfill and be great in that particular day. So I love being that person. But then also, with that being said, when that success story that fills me back up to keep doing what I do. And that's so important, because being an energy person, sometimes we get low on energy too. And when we get low, it generally takes us longer to recover, because we've given so much of ourselves, right? It's
Yeah.
kind of like, a lot of these comedians, a lot of people wonder, well, why do comedians struggle after they've had so much success? It's because they given and given and given and gave themselves to, large audiences, that when it's all said and done, and they there's no more to give, that they fall into a deep depression. So energy people, they struggle with that, and I just want to point that out there. So it's important for me to always continue to give back to keep my energy up.
Yes, sir. What topics do you find most rewarding to discuss during your speaking engagements?
The journey, the hustle. I love talking about the hustle, man. The hustle is real. The hustle is everything. And in fact, you guys hit me up if you're watching this. Hit me up on LinkedIn. I have a newsletter titled Hustle 25/8, and that's 25 and spell out 8. Hustle 25/8. I put that together, and so every week, the goal is to inspire you by bringing someone on board, or telling a story about someone who went through similar challenges with you, that accomplished a level of success that you're trying to accomplish, and allow you to learn from those other people as well. I got great stories that I'm sharing, whether it's me speaking, inviting other people, yourself, things like that. Hustle 25/8 is all about that. So the stories that I like talking about is really the journey. People need to really understand that life could be long. It can be extremely long. It really can be. So again, I'm sitting here today, my late 40s, and the thing that I like to talk about is the hustle. Let's say you're 45 and you've been on this career journey for the last 20 years. You spend the last 15 years with your company, and you're stressed out, you're frustrated, you've gotten passed over for promotion so many different times. You're not making the kind of money that you want to make. You're unhappy with your supervisor, things like that. All that's going on in your life, right? And you're 45. So I ask you, and I always challenge you, well, what if you live to be 75, right? And if you live to be 75, that means you got 30 more years of struggle. Like 30 more years? Are you going to sit here for the next 30 years doing the same thing, questioning why the hell you wasn't able to accomplish that? So I want to talk about those kind of things. Like, this is your life. You only got one of them to live. I don't care if you're 55. You got, man, a good 20 years of great earning potential. Live the life that you want to live. Achieve the things that you want to achieve. So let's hustle to the top.
Yes, sir. How do you incorporate storytelling into your presentations?
That's everything that I do. Everything starts with a story. If you go look at my stuff right now on social media, I'm telling you a story. And that's what it's about, because, people resonate with stories. In fact, if you think of a brand, you're going to think of a story. In fact, I can say Nike. I just leave it at Nike. Are you thinking of their logo? No. You're thinking of the story they tell, right? I can tell you Powerade, Gatorade. Do you even know what their logo looked like? Most people don't, but you can remember the stories that they tell. So everything is about stories for me. And that's how, I'm able to reach other people and connect with other people as well.
Oh, wow. What are some common misconceptions about healthcare that you address in your work?
Healthcare sucks. And I'm going to put it out there. Healthcare sucks. It stinks. It's dying. We're freaking getting lost. We're getting outpaced. And, I'm telling you all this, even though I'm that healthcare guy, I'm telling you this because I spent the last 15 years in industry. The thing that we do in healthcare, we suck at, is helping people with career laddering. We need to inspire the next generation by saying, you know what, I can start here as a CNA and I can become actually a CNO, a chief nursing officer. And this is how you get there. We don't do a good job of telling that story. In fact, we've gotten worse. The pandemic has really opened up our eyes in healthcare and the world's eyes that healthcare freaking sucks. And so much so, people are leaving the industry and then they're going to work in retail. And here's the problem with that is because intrinsically, what attracts people to healthcare is because they want to care, they want to provide, they want to give back through other people, whether that's technology sales, whether that's being a pharmacist, whether that's being a bedside nurse, whatever it is, you gravitated to healthcare because you feel the need to give back to other people. But we're pushing those people away. And what happened during the pandemic is all those years of abusing people in healthcare, all those years of mistreating people, all those years of underpaying people just open up this big old eyesore to letting you know that people are leaving the industry. And the problem with that is that we're outpacing the health need from a acuity standpoint. People are coming into the hospital systems at an older age. They're often coming with more higher levels of care. And then more people are actually leaving the industry, you know, from a workforce standpoint. So what that creates is this overwhelming need for people in healthcare, but then we got so many people leaving. So there's this big gap. So over the next 10 years, we're relying on technology to help, you know, with those disparities of care. And we're in a world of trouble. So for me, that's why I created my company, PDP Media. PDP Media's sole focus is to inspire, educate, and uplift the next generation of leaders within healthcare. So that's my focus today, is within healthcare, through storytelling, through upskilling, through education, things like that. So healthcare sucks.
So I need you to do one thing for me when we're done with the show. And you know, if it's okay with you, at least let me get your website so I can learn a little bit more about your brand and your company itself. And I am definitely going to do a blog post for you.
Oh, that's awesome. I'll take it. See, look at that. Networking, man. I love it. Let's go. Let's go.
Yes, I'm definitely going to do a blog post for you because that's actually interesting. And so I know that there's lots of things that this encompasses and so forth, but I think for being multifaceted, it's one of those things that I think people need to learn a little bit more about and give you some more clicks, give you some more followers, and to get that thing growing the way you want it to.
Let's go. I appreciate that.
Yes, sir. How do you balance evidence-based practices with practical insights in your writing?
Evidence-based practices with practical insights.
Hmm.
Luckily, in my writing, my copy, I don't have to get too deep from a healthcare standpoint, meaning I'm not into assessing patient needs and diagnosing exactly what you need. So I don't have to get that technical. Mine is through uh, career laddering, upscaling, hustling, positioning yourself, networking. We're talking about that time management, balancing time. Mine is through a lot of those facets of upskilling as well. So on that, I don't have to be that technical. I can speak a lot from life experiences, learned experiences, and then I can speak a lot through other people telling their stories as well. So that's how I'm able to kind of overcome some of those disparities. I'm not focused specifically on patient care or diagnosis codes and things like that.
Okay. What role does empathy play in effective healthcare communications?
Everything, everything is it's empathy is a lot like your experience, right? Empathy is how someone feels after they've connected with you, right? And
Mhm.
so that's what I really want to just kind of boil it down, help people understand. So with that said, let's say you go to your local store, Walgreens, CVS, and you go in there and you're greeted by the cashier, and you know they say, you know, welcome to blah 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 when you get in there, and you felt good because you know they greeted you. But then later you get to the cash register and there's someone else checking you out, and their energy is just it's dead. Like they don't even look you in the eyes. They give you a one word sentence, right? And they just make you feel less than, right? That feeling right there, that's what empathy is, right? So empathy, especially from a leader standpoint and in healthcare, is everything. It's so important as a leader that you make people feel seen and inspired. You can actually coach somebody up by actually talking directly to them about what their vision is for themselves and how it relates to the job that they have in front of them, right? And so I learned this early on in my career, and it's very early, shortly after the military is, and I want to share this with everybody. As a leader, you need to be um, hard on the process, but soft on the people. So I'm going to say that again. You need to be hard on the process and soft on the people. And if you learn this and a leader, any industry, including healthcare, and if you're in that leadership position, if you actually, when you're speaking to people, you speak to them about, hey, this was our process. Here were the measures that we had within the process. Here's where we fell short, right? Here's where I need you to get back to this process. They don't take that personally because guess what? You made it about the process. But oftentimes, we speak to someone directly and be like, hey, Charles, CZ, dude, you suck. Dude, you messed that up. You know what I'm saying? And now there's no empathy in that delivery. You didn't even really think about me as a person. So empathy is everything, especially from a leadership standpoint.
How do you encourage lifelong learning among your mentees?
For me, it's pretty easy in the sense that I tell people, get back to yourself. Like, what have you done for yourself from a learning standpoint this month? Just this month, right? And if you focus on this month, then if you take a 12-month period, every single month you're doing something for yourself that's going to position you to get to where you want to be. So that's important to me to share with other people.
What ethical considerations do you emphasize when mentoring healthcare professionals?
I haven't faced many ethical challenges, and I'm knock on wood on that one. So there's not much that I've actually done there in that sense. But it would be, I wouldn't say it would be encouraging, but if that's something that I would have to experience in the future, then hey, that's something I have to experience. I would overcome that like anything else. And the way I would face that is with grace, understanding that I'm ignorant in a lot of different areas. And oftentimes, if you want to get unignorant, right? If you want to get educated, if you want to get learn something, you just got to ask the question, you know?
Well, that's true because that's the only way you learn, though, is to ask questions.
Yeah, got to ask the question.
How do you adapt your message for different audiences, e.g., students, practitioners?
Yeah, I mean, I don't have to change much because I'm at this space now. We're talking about goals right after my mom passed away and how I refocus everything. I just want to be authentically me. So who I am today is who you're going to get tomorrow. And I've been blessed enough and accomplished enough that whether you're a leader of a healthcare organization or you're a kindergartner, I can speak to you both because guess what? I have one of those in the house, and I've worked with many of those in the corporate world, right? And so speaking of those people, just speaking directly to people at their level, really understanding through questioning what's important to them, what they're trying to accomplish through that interaction that y'all have with each other. And if you really understand that and be authentically yourself, then delivering that message is going to be pretty easy.
Okay. Can you share a lesson you've learned from your own mentors?
Makes me think about because I often reflect and be like, man, how many mentors did I actually have? And honestly, I can say I probably only had 2 mentors. Well, maybe three. And these people wasn't so much mentors, but more figures in the sense that they allowed me to kind of mess shit up, figure it out myself, right? But they were there when I needed them, right? And sometimes a lot of people think a mentor is going to be that person that's actually giving you the playbook all the time, they're actually telling you everything. Sometimes a mentor is that person that's there for you when you actually mess things up. And so I can think of 3 people over the course of my career. They didn't actually mentor me with much, but they were there for me if I needed them. And that was so important to me because my management style as a leader, and maybe this was some cockiness, but I would come into an organization. I would tell you about all this stuff that I've accomplished. I can tell you about what the vision is for this particular role that you're hiring me for. I can tell you about how that relates to your business model, how you're trying to grow from a revenue standpoint, a sales or attrition, customer success standpoint like that. And one of the things that was important to me when I was looking for my next company is I would share with them during the interview process, the way I like to be managed is you share with me, hey, here's the goals, here are your tools, additional resources, and here's contacts of people that can help you. If you give me that information, I can back into the plan, the vision, the actionable steps, and create the team that's going to help me get there. But where I failed is if I get a micromanager, someone that's going to be over my back, I hate that. I can't stand that. Right. And so yeah. Long story short, mentors for me has been just people that's been in my corner.
Mm. So, what impact do you hope to make through your work as a speaker and author?
Yeah, I hope to inspire the next generation of leaders. I think for a lot of, especially on an entrepreneur journey, the reason you did that is because you're believing in yourself, right? You're
Mm.
betting on yourself. And that's what I'm doing is I'm betting on myself. But there's so many people in the world, they're betting on themselves without proper resources. A lot of us in our communities, we grew up, all we knew is to bet on ourselves. That's all we had, right? That's all we had. Like I'm struggling. I got peanut butter and I got no jelly. I got spam, but I got no bread. I got all these small things and I'm struggling and you're betting on yourself. But what happens is you can bet on yourself, but then you don't have the right opportunities. And then that's what keeps you in that same place. Because once you bet on yourself, then you find yourself without opportunities. You don't have that mentor, and then you stay stagnant, and then you're stressed out, and you're wondering why you haven't accomplished things in life. Is because you haven't positioned yourselves for those opportunities. Sometimes life, and I tell people this all the time, it requires change. It requires significant change. If you're listening to this today, you're at home, you're in the hood, you're in the burbs, and you're happy to be in the burbs, but you're a paycheck away from not being in the burbs, things like that. Um, you have to continue to invest in yourself so you can reach that next level. The minute you stop investing in yourself, no one's going to pick up the pieces for you. This is your life. Like, I don't care more about your life than I care about mine, but I care to inspire you, right? So
Mm.
you can have the kind of life that I have, right? And so you need to know that when you're in this world, it's you. It's you. So what are you going to do differently? What's your different and better story? How are you hustling? Keep grinding. Let's go. Like, let's go. I'm passionate about it.
So, tell us, what are some of the things that goes into your planning and development before you execute a plan?
I spend a lot of time, dude, thinking. Like I feel like I overthink things sometimes.
Mhm.
But with that being said, I'm an actionable guy. So I make a plan for myself. I jot it down. I write it out, and then I start taking baby steps to get there. Like so, let me give you an example. I created my business as a placeholder last year. June
Mhm.
of last year, I went and got the LLC, created my business, knew what my vision was for it, right? But I didn't actually start marketing my business until like last month. What was I doing between the time that I developed my business and here today? Is I was actually learning what I didn't know, positioning myself as a thought leader, putting out content to let people like you and everybody else connect and really understand who I am as a person, right? So basically it's personal branding, working on my brand and understanding technology behind the scenes because the skill set from being a career oriented healthcare executive to being an entrepreneur is two different skills, man. Like you got to learn different things. And there's so many things that I didn't know because as a business leader, what happens oftentimes, you're stepping into a role as that leader and everything is in place. There's an SOP, there's processes, there's all tech stacks. There's only thing you have to do is lead and inspire. When you're a business owner and you're starting from scratch, all that I need to put in there. I need to, what's my tech stack? What's my SOP? How do I create content? How do I resonate with an audience? How do I create my personal brand? How do I upskill? What I do for marketing, all that stuff, I have to figure that out. So now it took me basically a whole year, a little bit over a year to start really marketing my business. And, a lot of people probably could have did it sooner, but I'm so regimented in my process that I want to make sure that I'm providing something of value and I'm not half-assing it that it took me some time. Everybody else could be different, but that's me. But I afforded myself that time, through my accomplishments that financially I wasn't stressed out about it. I understood that I needed to really spend time on learning who I am and how to reach other people.
Well, I'll tell you this as some words of encouragement is that one of the other hats that I wear is I also do bookkeeping, accounting, tax preparation, as well as consulting. And based on having had that experience professionally, when I delved out on my own, I went out there. I as far as like incorporating and so forth. All of that was the easy part, but the things about actually the business perspective of it.
Right.
I was short-sighted because there's a lot of things I did not know.
Right.
So after doing it for so long, I had to go back and I had to start over.
Yep.
And so in the process of starting over, there's nothing wrong with rebranding, but what's the smart part is when you know you need to do it. Because if you continue on, as you were saying, doing the same thing, and nothing's happening, then you're going to cause yourself that much more of a problem.
Yep.
So sometimes you have to give yourself that look in the mirror and say, something's not right.
Man,
Do it again.
and I hope everybody sees this, man. I hope this blows up to be a million people that actually sees this but I want to share that, man, there's been many nights, and yeah, I'm this guy, I've accomplished great things in the corporate world, but there's been many nights from an entrepreneurial standpoint that I'm just sitting there and I'm balling, dude. I'm like, what the hell did I just get myself into? Why did I even do this? Is this something that I can even accomplish? Do I have enough energy to get to that next level? And then what keeps me going is my vision. That's why vision is everything. What my vision for what I have in my life, for where I'm trying to get, for the things that I want to accomplish, that's what keeps me going. So
Yes.
what I want to share with everybody is you're going to have those days you're going to struggle. You're going to look up and you're going to be like, who's going to help me up? You're going to be looking at your bank account and you're going to be like, man, this thing is getting dry. You're going to look at your connections and you look at your family members and everybody else that used to be around you are no longer with you. Thing you need to understand is there's a journey that you're on, and this is your journey. This is nobody else's journey but yours, right? And so if you're looking for people to step into your journey and that's going to help you get to somewhere else, oftentimes that's not going to happen because it's your journey. So
Exactly.
that's what keeps me focused on, and keep me inspired to impact and educate the next generation, man.
Yes, sir. How do you handle disagreements or differing opinions during mentoring sessions?
Oh, I hate it. I think we all hate being disagreed with, but we have to accept it though, like because you can be a mentor, you can be a leader, and you have this learned experience, and you really want to help, share your knowledge with other people, and people can decide whether to accept it and act on it, act upon it, change it, whatever, right? But as a leader, as a mentor, you have to accept that people's learning style is different. Like I shared with you before, if you give me a book and you ask me to read it, man, I'm gonna fall asleep while that book is in my hand. But if you give me a book and you ask me to listen to it, I'm gonna listen to that complete book and I'm gonna love every second of it, right? But that's my learning style. So as a mentor, you got to really understand people's learning style. And that's why I like to give you many different things, whether that's, hey, I'm a visual person. I need to give me an article, write it, put it in an ebook or put it in, a case study or whatnot. If I can read that, I'm good. Other people is, hey, I have to hear it, right? And then there's other people that's like, you know what? The only way I'm going to get this is actually go out there and do it. I need to fail, and then I need to do it again. So you got to brace yourself as a mentor, as a leader, really understand everybody's learning style is different, and you got to give people grace and go back to that empathy.
Wow. What strategies do you use to promote self-care among healthcare professionals?
Kind of like what I shared before, take some you time. You gotta if you're gonna give yourself to yourself, then giving yourself to yourself requires being with yourself as well. So that means meditation again, spending maybe that's a longer nap, or I'm sleeping in longer, or I'm starting my day later. Give yourself grace, and then really focus on your small wins. You have to celebrate your wins. I do that a lot. I don't have a lot of big wins here lately as an entrepreneur. I got a lot of small wins, and I take every moment to celebrate those small wins to keep me inspired to keep going.
Yes, sir. I agree with that. How do you approach diversity and inclusion in your work?
Hmm. Really understanding people are different. Culturally, as a country, as an environment, as a nation, as a world, we're changing. I mean, we're using pronouns now, right? Him, he, she, whatever, right? We're using those pronouns.
Yes.
Um, I mean, and even the comedy that's on TV, that's changed, right? Rated R movies are different. PG-13 movies are different. Everything is different. So Here's the thing: you got to be woke right now in this present time, and being woke is really understanding the things that we used to say that used to be okay and cool is no longer cool now. Especially if you're building your own company or you're a leader, or you're an executive somewhere else. The way you think is not the way everyone else thinks. Your cultural belief system is totally different from the next person's cultural belief system. You have to really understand that and then approach people and talk to the people the same way you would reach and approach your mom, right? With respect, with integrity, things like that. So that's how what I share.
Well, I think you're right about one thing, which is a whole nother show. But when you think about the diversion and equity and inclusion and so forth, I think as the world has evolved and changed, I think a lot of that change has to come from within each and every individual of
Yeah.
realize that, of course, everything is like this now. So if it's like this now, you just need to be able to learn and adapt to each and every last one of those things,
Yep.
because that's going to be kind of tough if you don't, you know, because
Absolutely.
because it's all over the place now. Um, what legacy would you like to leave in the healthcare field?
Just being a contributor, someone who's actually made a difference by providing a step forward or creating opportunities for others. So in the healthcare field, I just like to for someone to remember, with Patrick with PDP Media, his attempt to really inspire people, educate people, create opportunities for people that resonated with me, whether that's one person or that's 100,000 people or 2 million people. I'm not concerned about the number. I'm concerned about the effort that I'm able to put in and in how great of an effort am I putting into accomplishing my particular vision. Because I feel like my vision is going to resonate with somebody. It resonates with me. I just need to keep talking enough till it resonates with somebody else as well.
Wow. And so, just to tell you, I really, really appreciate, the frankness and, the straightforward and transparency that you just provided, to not just the show, but to the audience. And I'm very sure that this will probably be one of our higher rated shows. And I want to thank you for that. But because I know that this show was so great, I hope that we could have you back on the show again, because this was definitely the light that needs to be shined, and the way you just you just had this wonderful presentation. I'm sure that a lot of people are going to get a lot from this show. I'm very sure of that.
I,
And go ahead.
no, I was going to say I appreciate the platform, and you and your audience need to know this is my first podcast ever. So
Wow.
I'm blessed to be on this podcast hosted by you and your amazing team. I'm thankful for the opportunity. In fact, you reached out to me on LinkedIn directly, and when you did that, man, that you gave me more energy that day. I was like, dude, okay, so I am doing something right. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm positioning myself because I truly believe. You go back to that book by Matthew McConaughey. I talked about green lights. You can
Mhm.
start you start working on things, and then all of a sudden a green light happens, right? That's where an opportunity presents itself. And then you just run through it, you embrace it. That's what I did, man, with this opportunity right here. And I'm looking to help other people do that same thing as well. So I'm passionate about that. Again, I'm very thankful. And I
Yes,
would love to be back. Love to.
yes, sir. I definitely appreciate that. And is there any words that you like to leave to the audience in closing?
Hustlers keep hustling. Just remember, your journey, man, is it's not straight. There's going to be difficult moments. There's going to be times where it feels like the light is so dim that it's almost out. Find some encouragement within other people to not only believe in you but to buy into your vision. If you're able to get like one person to do that, that'd be great. In addition to give yourself some time to celebrate your small victories. Because without that celebration, the only thing you have is anxiety and stress. So give yourself those time to celebrate, and then keep pushing forward. Inspire yourself, continue to learn, to continue to network, and then put yourself out there. Put your best foot forward all the time. That's it.
Ladies and gentlemen, that is Patrick Hart, This was another wonderful show. For those of you that are watching on the YouTube channel, please hit the subscription button, hit the notifications button as well. So in case you do miss a show, you are able to catch that show whenever you get the time. We want to thank Mr. Hart for being here and providing us with a lot of information that everybody in all the communities can use for their development and growth. Please keep watching. Watch us again tomorrow night as we will be on live again at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You all have a great day and a great evening, and please, we'll see you